The sun rises, and as both parents open the door, concern fills their faces for their son. Wang enters with a laugh, and Taehyun stands behind him, seeking reassurance. The elders, however, begin to cry and show signs of distress. They express their worry, fearing that Hwang and Taehyun might have encountered monsters, judging by the messy state of the house. Wang and Taehyun proceed inside, and Hwang falsely reassures them that nothing untoward happened to their home. The next day, television news announces the complete lifting of the gate break warning. However, to anticipate a potential new outbreak, the government orders nearby schools to close for a week. As news of survivors slowly trickles in, the public begins to breathe a sigh of relief. Even the authorities confined in the hospital hear about the development. Meanwhile, the nurse is surprised and reports to the police, stating that she woke up to find herself in the evacuation center. One of the survivors addresses the media, humbly denying credit for taking down the giant ogre, attributing the heroic act to someone else. However, with the giant ogre's corpse missing and the villain's whereabouts unknown, citizens worry about the adequacy of safety measures. Taehyun, watching the news on his phone, feels relieved that there's no mention of him in connection to the giant ogre's demise. Later, he smiles, standing in front of the dungeon entrance, and decides it's time to advance to the next stage. At this time, Taehyun is a D rank with 15 strength, 20 stamina, 15 speed, 40 mana points, 5% fatigue, and 40 out of 40 magic remaining. He possesses 3 skills: Predation, Stone Skin, and Stealth. Acquiring Stealth is a notable gain for him. However, at his current level, using all 3 skills recklessly could deplete his mana quickly and increase fatigue. This could result in a devastating outcome. Taehyun believes that the best preventive measure is potions, elixirs crafted for purposes like mana or fatigue recovery. Knowing potions are expensive, he realizes he must hunt to earn money for them. To hunt legally, he needs permission, as using skills without it is considered illegal. Inside the dungeon, Taehyun encounters gigantic monsters, but rather than feeling fear, he's eager to explore undiscovered dungeons. To his surprise, the monsters speak like humans, making him believe they possess high intelligence. According to Taehyun's system, these creatures are known as Spider Sisters and currently hold a B rank. However, Taehyun realizes that a B rank isn't sufficient to change his own rank. He even questions whether he would need to consume hundreds of Spider Sisters to gain enough experience points. As Taehyun talks to himself, the Spider Sisters feel belittled and express their disdain, deeming him an arrogant and lowly human unaware of his situation. Suddenly, the spider with pink hair blows a purple flame at Taehyun, intending to devour him. However, to their surprise, Taehyun remains unharmed. The system notes a mysterious power resistance, and Taehyun comments on the usefulness of his skill. This confuses and terrifies the Spider Sisters, who plead for mercy. Despite their pleas, Taehyun, unmoved, proceeds to eliminate them all inside the dungeon. Thanks to his success in complete purgation, Taehyun gains a new skill, Paralysis. Simultaneously, at the new South Korea Player Association, 2 guards stand at the entrance of the hall, safeguarding an ongoing meeting. One of them is Go Tae-wook, HR deputy manager of the association. It is revealed that players are beings who are awakened and possess legal permission to use their skills for various objectives, including abyss exploration and dungeon clearing. In the new South Korean Player Association, there are 5 player centers representing the country's largest guilds, the 4 Great Guilds. These include the Fighters Undivided, the Crafters Alchemists, the Mages Magicians, the Informants Nightwalkers, and the authorized agency that manages the players and the 4 Great Guilds. Meanwhile, Yu Aeon, the Guild Master of the Nightwalkers and S-rank player, greets the Ji Jinwi, the chairman of the new South Korea Player Associations and also an S-rank player. Jinwi inquires if Aeon has discovered something significant. Aeon inquires if the discussion is about the Malignant Guild, a criminal organization consisting of the most brutal felons among villains. Members of this guild wear gold rings with 3 skulls carved on them. Jinwi provides information on the Malignant Guild's recent movements and the list of players they are targeting. Aeon questions the reason for being summoned in person, stating that it surely wasn't just to receive a document. Jinwi laughs and responds, expressing the desire to hear Aeon's opinion on something. Aeon, puzzled, stares at the chairman. Jinwi then asked about when Aeon took the player test. Aeon responds, saying she took it at the qualifying age of 19. There's a sudden pause as she realizes what the chairman might be thinking. Jinwi asks if she believes a high school student could rival a monster in a fight. Simultaneously, Taehyun continues his dungeon exploration, successfully defeating various monsters. His bag is now filled with monster cores. During his time, he takes a moment to call one of the 4 Great Guilds, the Alchemists, over the phone. His purpose is simple. He wants to buy some potions. After a week, when the 7-day school closure order following the gate break is lifted, Taehyun engages in physical training with his cousin. Additionally, he clears more dungeons and visits the Alchemists Guild headquarters for potion trading. The alchemists are astonished to see the abundance of monster cores from Taehyun. The head declares him an SVIP, impressed by the mana stones that can be used for crafting potions or equipment. In addition to this recognition, Taehyun achieves the rank of C ranker, enhancing his strength, stamina, speed, fatigue, and magic. He also gains the paralysis skill, enabling him to restrain targets' bodies. While inside his classroom, he contemplates that there's still a long way to go for him, even though he has to balance school. As he reflects, 3 classmates approach him, having heard rumors about Taehyun beating up Ba Hyuksu's lackeys. Shocked to learn that Taehyun is now awakened, classmates fear that Kim Taehyun is in significant trouble. While discussing this, 3 men approach their room. Taehyun notices their arrival, and as they enter, they audaciously break chairs. The men stare angrily at Taehyun, with their leader sitting down in front of him, even putting his foot on the table. Despite the tension, Taehyun maintains a calm stare. He is revealed to be Lee Jungji, an S-rank awakened. He is not someone to let things slide. He is the 3rd-generation chaebol of the Taesin Group, a conglomerate sponsoring Taesin High School. Jungjae is not only the boss of all the bullies at Taesin High, but also the main culprit who ordered Ba to harass Taehyun for being unawakened. Taehyun, unimpressed, tells Jungjae to cut the crap and back off. Jungjae's subordinates are surprised as Taehyun boldly speaks against their boss. However, Jungjae, not tolerating any disrespect, responds by punching his own subordinate in the face. He admonishes the subordinate for talking while he was engaged in a conversation with Taehyun. Jungjae turns his attention back to Taehyun, acknowledging that he understands Taehyun's high spirits after defeating Ba. He smiles and stands with a menacing aura, cautioning Taehyun to be more careful about choosing whom to challenge. Taehyun smiles in response, impressed by the amazing aura from an S-rank awakened. Jungjae warns Taehyun to listen while he's being nice. This time, Taehyun readies his hands, preparing to activate his predation skill, contemplating how Jungjae would face his predation skill. Suddenly, a lady with blue hair intervenes, urging Jungjae to stop bullying Taehyun. She activates her magic power, and as Taehyun looks at her, he recognizes her as Lim Aoyang. Lim Aoyang steps forward, addressing both Jungjae and Taehyun, putting an end to the situation. Taehyun smiles, aware that Lim Aoyang is the class president hailing from a wealthy family. She is Yu Aoyang's half-sister, an S-rank awakened, a model student, a prospective first-ranker for the next term. She carries various nicknames, but the challenge lies in her uncompromising nature. She simply won't back down. The lady faces Jungjae with a clenched fist, but Jungjae laughs it off, suggesting that they're just friends having a chat. Lim Aoyang questions this, pointing out how Jungjae was going to punch Taehyun in the face. Jungjae warns her to watch herself, but the lady insists they leave. She cautions Jungjae that she's prepared to use force if necessary. Lim Aoyang calmly tells Jungjae and his comrades to quit and leave. Taehyun observes their powerful auras, realizing that these intense awakenings need to stop, fearing for the chaos it might cause in the classroom. Jungjae and Lim Aoyang engage in a silent standoff, staring into each other's eyes. Eventually, Jungjae decides to walk away, choosing to cease bullying Taehyun due to Lim Aoyang's intervention. He falsely claims no intention of fighting her in the school. However, he changes his mind, and just as Jungjae is about to launch an attack, a school announcement is heard through the speakers. The Players Association is organizing a special lecture in the main hall, requiring all students to assemble immediately. The announcement is repeated twice, diverting attention from the potential conflict. Jungjae becomes intrigued by the announcement and exchanges a gaze with Lim Aoyang. They lock eyes, and Jungjae, smiling, decides to walk away, stating that Lim Aoyang was just lucky this time. Lim Aoyang, not taking any chances, keeps her powers activated in case of a surprise attack after Jungjae leaves the room. Once he's gone, she checks on Taehyun, telling him there's no need to thank her. As she turns around, she's unaware that Taehyun has already moved to the door. Taehyun asks why she's standing there and reminds her about the announcement to assemble in the main hall. He informs her that he's going ahead by himself. Lim Aoyang, puzzled, wonders if Taehyun always acts this way. In the main hall, students are already gathered, puzzled about the special lecture by the Player Association. Their attention turns to the stage, where Taewook introduces himself. According to him, they have 2 reasons for being there. First, to apologize for the association's lack of response to the gate break and to provide safety training. Second, to inform the students of changes to the player tryouts, as they hold the future of the new South Korea Player Association. While Taewook speaks, Jungjae is still preoccupied with thoughts about Taehyun, annoyed by the fact that Taehyun was saved. At the same time, Lim Aoyang is also contemplating her thoughts about Taehyun and plans to talk to him after the lecture. While both of them are occupied with their thoughts about Taehyun, he nonchalantly yawns in the hall, completely unaffected by their concerns. On the other hand, the students are puzzled about the player tryouts Taewook mentioned, unsure of how it relates to them. Some believe they can't participate due to the age qualification of 19. Taewook addresses their confusion, stating that they are there to inform the students as it is indeed related to them. He explains that due to the recent gate break outbreak and the sharp increase in the number of monsters and dungeons, the situation has changed. The Players Association acknowledges their understaffed situation and announces that, starting from these tryouts, they will allow nominations for high school students. Some students are disappointed by this news, but Taeyeon smiles while listening. Taewook states that nominees from each school will be selected based on factors like ability assessment scores, academic records, and behavior. Taeyeon, however, believes these are lies. He knows the tryouts will be open to high school students, but the selection process is already underway. Taewook, utilizing his observer eye skill, quantifies the sum total of the students' abilities. This skill allows him to view the stat window information of the targets. Taeyeon observes the students and smiles as he discovers their numbers surpass those in other locations. He believes these students will make great players. The most shocking revelations come from both Jungjo with a score of 1,924 and Lim Yang with a score of 2,335. The Nightwalker sent Taewook a list of recommended candidates, but he's surprised by the number of untrained awakens. Gritting his teeth, he plans to write up recommendations once he returns. In the midst of this, Jungji raises his arm, confusing Taewook. Despite the confusion, Taewook allows Jungji to speak. Jungji questions the purpose of informing everyone about the player tryouts when some candidates present are unfit for them. He argues that player tryouts are meant to assess those suitable to be players among the awakened. In other words, he doesn't believe that a mere unawakened person, referring to Taeyeon on the other side, needs to hear this lecture, according to Jungjae. It's revealed that becoming a player requires more than just physical strength. Factors like the rank of awakening, the ability to handle various situations, and extensive knowledge about the abyss need to be assessed. Jungjae, however, believes that all these complexities ultimately stem from the awakened.